Okay, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to MIPTV 2011. My name is Roxanne Frias, and I'm very honored to be moderating this question and answer session with world-renowned actor, public servant, businessman, international icon, Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's here to talk about this exciting new project, the Governator. It's action-packed, as Andy said, full of wonderful stories inspired from his own life. And it's debuting here at MIPTV 2011. And it's a worldwide entertainment, multifaceted property open to buyers from around the world. Now, as it usually works with these question and answers, I am lucky. I get to start it off with a few questions, and then obviously this is for you. So if you have a question, raise your hand. A hostess will bring a microphone by, and we'll try and get all the questions in that we can, okay? So now, let us welcome Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger.
If you don't mind, I say first a few words here, just to make sure we cover it all. Okay. But it is wonderful to be back here again in Cannes, where I kind of started my film career. And you know, when you're finished with a job, or like in government, when you're termed out and you can't run anymore, then you of course have to go and change. And there's a lot of things that you go through when that happens. And the most important thing is during that time that you go home. And this is exactly what this is all about. Coming to Cannes for me is like going home. Because in 1977, that's where I started my career. And as I just said earlier at the press conference where I got the Légion d'honneur, a great honor, I said that, you know, at the time when everyone was negative, when I wanted to go from being a bodybuilding champion into movies, in Cannes it was quite different. Everyone else was talking about it would never happen, you would never be a star, because you have an accent, you have too long of a name, and your body is overdeveloped, and all those things. There were many, many reasons why I would never make it. Well, I made all of those things my asset. But it was actually here in 1977 where I had a great breakthrough, and where I launched my movie career on an international level. So we'll never forget that, and because of that I came back to Cannes many times. I've promoted many movies here. As a matter of fact, the last one was Terminator 3, when I was here in 2003. Little did I know then that a few months later I will be the governor of the 8th largest economy in the world. So it has been, of course, a great honor you know, to serve the people of California, but now it's time again to move on. And I was very honored to get this award here today. Never in my wildest dreams when I was a kid did I ever imagine that I would get this honor, or that I would go as far as I did, because most people, as you know, have a difficult time to make their dreams become a reality. But in my case, I went way beyond my dreams. Becoming governor of the great state of California, I did not dream that either. Or that I will be working for presidents like President Bush as the chairman of the President's Council on Fitness, and all of those kind of things will become the international coach for Special Olympics, and on and on and on. There's, of course, a difference between being in public life or in private life. In public life, when you are a governor, you know, you deal with keeping the beaches clean and making sure there's enough funding for the after-school programs and for lunch programs for the kids and all of those kind of things. And as an action hero, you just have to save the world. That's it. But there's also some similarities, because in both cases, and we've talked about this to everyone here earlier, in both cases, you need the people as your partners. In politics, you need them. You need to know exactly what the people want, what their desire is. Is it job creation? Is it stimulating the economy, or doing healthcare reform, or redistricting reform, or term limits, or whatever it may be? Or in entertainment, you have to know what kind of projects do the people like. And of course, that's the most important thing, because they're the ones that go and see your movies and see your projects, and that's what makes it successful. And I think this is exactly why this project has been so appealing to me. And this is why we're here today to launch the Governator. This is a partnership, as you have heard earlier, a joint venture between Stan Lee, who is a genius in that world of comic books, and also A Squared Entertainment, under the leadership of Andy and Amy Haywood. And Andy, you have heard just earlier, his wonderful wife is right next to him over here with Paul the Schlepper. And then we have Archie Comics, the best of the best, and under the leadership of John Goldwater. So we are very happy to have this kind of a partnership. And this was one of those unique things where we came in the room, talked about it, and immediately it sparked, and we all went to work 24 hours a day. I think that this is an assembly of elite people, of kids, of young kids around me that create all the action, the daring mission, the powerful mega horsepowers of vehicles, if it's motorcycles or if it's cars, if it's speedboats, helicopters, all of those kind of things. You will see more action in this series than if you have ever seen before, and combined with comedy. That's the important thing. And I want to mention also, it will not be a violent show. And I stress that because, as you know, when you look at my movies, a lot of heads come off. A lot of blood is splattered all over and so on. So that's why I want to mention this is not what this is. This is, it doesn't have the violence, but tremendous amount of action and comedy. And of course, the great thing about this character is he's not being created by having powers because of a spider bite or because of landing on this world from another universe or something like that. No, this is all about a guy that is determined and has the most tremendous amount of determination and will. And that's why he succeeds. What makes this project special is because it brings all of my worlds, the different worlds together. If it's sports, if it is entertainment, if it is politics, all of those worlds come together here, and they utilize all the talent of people that I have met. As you know, as governor, you meet people from the Interpol to police, law enforcement, Homeland Security, the CHP, including in the political arena, you meet everybody. So we use all of those kind of knowledge and talents. And also, of course, it reaches back to the movie world, which is the stunt coordinators, the stunt guys, the makeup artists, and all of this. And of course, he is surrounded by young kids, because in most action movies or movies in general, you don't see teenagers being empowered. Here we show teenagers being empowered and being the creative ones. So the rest of it we can talk about when we sit down here. So again, thank you very much for listening.
Okay, I'll start with a few questions. So, I mean, you have just left 8 years of governor of California, as you just said, just recently, a few mere months ago. How does it feel to leave politics and now enter back into the world of entertainment?
Well, I think in the beginning, of course, you miss it. You miss the excitement because you start at 7 in the morning and you have schedules that are very intense, where you have every 30 minutes another appointment, and you meet very interesting people and deal with, from education to environmental issues, law enforcement issues, prison issues, political issues. I mean, it's really exciting. California became, over the last 7 years, kind of one large classroom, where it's a learning experience, because there's really no school on how to become a governor. So everyone has their own styles and so on. So I had a terrific time. It was the greatest honor to serve the people of California. But it's also nice to go and look forward to your new life. You know, maybe spending more time with your family, or getting back into the entertainment business, or the business in general, continuing working on environmental issues and policy issues and political issues. So I will continue doing that. But sometimes I miss it. I miss the excitement, and I miss all the meetings and all the madness and the dangers that you get into and the risky kind of decisions that you have to make and so on. But I think that the Governator is definitely a great replacement in a way, because I was looking for, when I'm finished with politics, to come up again with something that will be a big surprise. And so I think that this project has been a big surprise. Everyone was kind of like, wow, I didn't expect that at all. I expected you to go and jump in and do another action movie or something like that, but not to come up with a TV series that is so multifaceted and multimedia and worldwide and so on.
So this really marks your return to entertainment. You are coming back as a star.
That's right. It's being back in entertainment, and that's why for the last few years I've said many times that, when I'm finished with my governorship, I will continue with some of the political work, but I will also go back into the entertainment business. But I never said acting. So I wanted to leave it wide open because I knew there's many different areas of entertainment that you can get into. This is really exciting because I've never done this before. And like I said earlier, it really combines all of my worlds, from sports to entertainment to politics and all my different talents and what I'm known for, and also the comedy. The action movies, as Andy was saying earlier, the action movies, but also the comedy movies like Twins and Kindergarten Cop, Junior, and so on, because I had that range and it was totally believable that people went to see both. They saw the intense action movies, but they also went to see the comedies. And so it was very important to us to utilize that and to, again, create stories that are playing well internationally. Because we don't want to do a movie or a TV series that is good for the United States. I have always come from the marketing background and from the business background. I think it's very important that one looks at it always as a global opportunity. And also, I think that the people in Africa ought to be entertained as much as the people in America or in Australia or in Europe or in North America, South America. So this will play well in any of the continents, anywhere in the world.
So you must have felt a certain amount of pressure when you were deciding what's going to be my next new project. I'm going to go back into the entertainment world. You had decided that. Did you feel pressure? I mean, what were the ingredients that it had to have? Like, it must be the perfect one.
I didn't feel, to be honest with you, the pressure, because I feel always that if you're passionate about something, and if your rule is not to look at the numbers or the dollars, like so many entertainers or athletes look at how much money can I make. If you take that out and you look at just how can I produce something that is quality and how can I work with the best people possible, and how can I entertain the whole world. So if you look at that and you're really passionate about it, you will come up with something, with a great idea. And I think that's what we all have done. None of us looks at this as a money-making thing, because if it is successful, the money will come anyway. The success will come anyway. But the number one thing and the most important thing is you have to say, how can we create a character that we have never seen before? How can we make people laugh out loud in front of the TV set? And at the same time, a few minutes later, have tears coming down, to take them on a roller coaster ride. How can we make sure that this project can be seen by and interested in, by 5-year-olds, but also at the same time by 85-year-olds? And should you live until you're 100, you should also watch it when you're 100, obviously. So we don't want to limit it to 85 by any means.
So were you involved with developing the character and the story with Stan? How did it come about?
Well, like Andy said, we got in a room, we had this trademark, and of course Andy is the genius and an expert in this particular in animated shows, and so we of course talked to him, and he then talked to Stan Lee, and he brought us all together, and the Archie comics books, and everyone came together, and it was like he said, there was an explosion, because everyone felt like there was something very interesting there, that if we approach this the right way and make it comic books, print and digital, then a TV series that is a 52-week TV series that is, for all ages, and if we have it also on the internet and have characters developed and games developed and so on, that this could be really a fantastic project and something very unique. So everyone basically looked at their talents that they've had and the experience that they've had and added that to the mix. And out came this project. And so it has been really fun. And I have to tell you that I ran into Stan Lee in my life many times because, Conan the Barbarian is a comic book character. And so we end up at the same conventions and so on. But I've never really had the chance to sit down and start creatively getting involved where we both have the same interests. And this man is a genius. I mean, I've never, ever met anything like this where you sit down and he has stories after stories that just come out of his mouth, blah, 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 and it just goes for hours. You have to literally just say, Stan, quiet. Keep it for the next meeting. Keep it for the next time. I mean, he has so much stuff going on in his brain. I mean, the mind just works in a very unique way, and he sees it, the vision, he can describe the vision. So, you know, it must be impossible for people, the writers then, to write it down and to do the drawings, to actually put this that quickly down, because, you know, after he's through with it, you know, he leaves. So, I mean, so you better get it down just when he's really hot and creative. So that has been really a great experience working with him.
So tell us a bit about your character. I mean, where does the story begin?
Well, the story begins like you saw on the screen. It's basically me on the Capitol steps and me saying, this have been a terrific, 2 terms as governor. And it was a great honor to serve the people of California, even though we went through some challenging times and so on. But, you know, I'm going to go back to my private life and do what I've done before. And then there's, of course, Larry King, who is always the nosy guy, right? He jumps out with his microphone. He has to be ahead of every other journalist. That's him. And he asks the question, you know, Governor, wait a minute. Does that mean you're going to go back to the movies? You know, so he tried to get the scoop, which every journalist tries to get. Every journalist always wants to make news. So they always wanted to say something that's newsworthy. So he thought he's the one that is going to get that out of me. And I told him, no, I'm just going to go back to private life, and that's it. But he then, throughout the series, you will see that he's always chasing me and snooping around. He's trying to catch me because he has a feeling that I'm involved in some of this crime fighting, but he can never prove it. He's always like a second too late. So he's that playing one of those characters. But anyway, I basically go and I'm bored. And also at the same time, I see all the crimes that are happening and natural disasters. And I recognize the fact that when you're governor and when you're in public life and when you're officially inside, that you can't do certain things because of the system and because of the laws. So that there are many opportunities where you wanted to fight the crime and you knew how to go about it, but because of the laws, you're held back and you can't go all out because of the various different, you know, the rules. But so I knew that if I'm outside the system, that if I pull together all the talent from the movies that I've met and from sports and from, like I said, in government, because as a governor, you are, you know, with all law enforcement, you're always connected with the prison system, you're connected with Homeland Security, with the wars, you have your own, you know, the National Guard and everything. So you are plugged into a system, so he uses that. And on top of it, he recognizes that the most important thing is to have young kids around it. So he has those teenagers that are experts in computer hacking, that are experts with vehicles, and with the most high-powered vehicles that they come up with and create, and suits that will make you, that give you extra power, or for instance, a special bubble gum that you chew and you blow up a bubble, and then all of a sudden it pop, and it changes your look of the facial look, and you're someone totally different, and you can sneak in anywhere you want. So it has those unique powers, and so that we work together, and we have this pad that is right below my house in Brentwood. So imagine the mansion is on top, and then you go right below, and there is the submarine, and there's the speedboat, and there's the vehicles, and there's all this, because it goes right out to the ocean. So I mean, so that's really what the whole setup is. It's like Batman in a way, that the pad, but much more sophisticated, more creative, and much bigger, and the crimes that he fights and the natural disasters that he fights are much bigger. So it is he's the baddest of the bad kind of heroes, and fighting also the baddest of the bad villains.
Does it mainly take place in California, or does it go all over the world?
Everywhere. I mean, he can be anywhere and everywhere. And the interesting thing that I should mention here is that what creates a lot of times the comedy is because he is as adamant about his personal life as he is about crime fighting. So he has to be home for dinner. He has to go to the parent-teachers conferences. He has to go sometimes to the games, to the basketball games, the playoffs, and all of those kind of things. But he has to fight those crimes, and he's stuck in the middle of fighting those crimes. So how does he do it? So he comes up with the idea of having a double. But the young kid that is his double doesn't have quite the muscles, and doesn't always have the right accent. So he gets into trouble, so he builds himself a suit that has muscles. But of course, when he goes home and tries to replace me, my kids detect when they feel the bicep that there's something off, still mushy. So those are the kind of conflicts and the weirdness that he gets into, which creates huge laughs because he would screw up. My character, the Governator, will screw up sometimes because he has, for instance, a speak spray, where he sprays himself in the mouth and he speaks a different language all of a sudden. I wish I would have had that sometimes with my accent, trust me. But I mean, but anyway, he now has this spray, but it only lasts 30 seconds or 40 seconds, this magic ability. And after that, all of a sudden, he realizes that now he starts talking English again, and he has to now, of course, cough and leave the room, because otherwise they will detect the North Koreans that he doesn't really speak Korean, that he's, maybe some spy or something like that. So those are the kind of things that he will get into that will be very funny. And like I said, Stan Lee has so many, hundreds of those kind of situations that make you laugh and laugh and laugh, and also dramatic kind of things. And so we have been having a great time creating the different episodes. And so as I said, it's going to come out very soon, the comic books, this end of this year. And then there will be the TV series. Yeah, the first the comic books, print and digital. Then there will be the TV series. And then after that, there will be all the other things, the internet and all the other kind of things, and the characters that will be developed, and the games and so on. And then eventually the movie on a big screen. And believe me, we will be back then in Cannes again and introduce the movie here, which will be, fantastic.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to open this up now to questions from journalists. I'm sure you have many. Just raise your hand and we'll get a hostess bringing you a mic. Introduce yourself, please.
Hello, Governor Schwarzenegger. Peter White from TVI Magazine. You mentioned a lot of the people that you met.
Where are you?
Over the course of
Stand
your...
up here.
Okay, there, okay.
Hello. You talked about the number of interesting people that you met over the course of your career, and obviously Larry King's voices in there. Are you considering bringing, talking to these people and trying to get them as special guests? You mentioned President Bush, perhaps other people that of that ilk. Do you expect perhaps some of them to be in this?
Yeah, there will be interesting guest stars coming into this series, yes. If it is presidents or other types of, tycoons and business leaders or entertainers and so on, we will, as we go along, we will make those kind of announcements.
Okay, another question? Yes, over here, please. Please stand up when you introduce yourself.
Kate Bulkley. I'm a freelance journalist from the UK. How are you?
Terrific, thank you.
This is exciting.
I just came from the UK.
Oh, good.
Yes.
Two quick questions. One is, it sounds like this is what you wanted to do when you were governor. So, I mean, how much of this is right, the things you wanted to do that you couldn't do because you were obviously the governor of California as opposed to being able to be a superhero? And the second thing is, are you going to go back into acting, or is it just going to be behind the scenes and voiceovers, or will you show up, do you think, on the big screen? Thank you.
Thank you. And first of all, the first question, of course, when you're governor or whatever position you have in government, you wish you could do much more than you're able to do because of the restrictions. But at the same time, I'm happy that we have some of those restrictions in the balance of power between the executive branch and the judiciary branch and the legislative branch. I think that's very important. And that you have, let's say in California, you have 120 legislators that all have their own opinions on things, because we don't want to have a dictatorship. We have seen many times over and over where that leads to. So it's better to have checks and balances. It's better to do it the system that we have. And of course, in California, we're very fortunate that we have the direct democracy also, that we can have initiatives that we can put on the ballot and go directly to the people with those things. But in your fantasy, it's great to imagine, wouldn't it be great if we could do X, Y, and Z? And here now we have the chance of doing it, because we're doing it in this series that is, animated series where we can create anything we want. And for us, the bottom line there is again, to make it as entertaining as possible because of laughs, or because of the action, and because of the gadgets and all of this kind of magic things. Any kind of crime that you can, and we have plenty of problems everywhere in the world. So just imagine having a superhero like this that has a team around it that has the means to get some of this stuff done. But the villains will be very, very, like I said, tough villains, and there will be situations where you really, it will go through some great, great suspense. You will never know until the end that the Governator is going to make it. So that's the important thing. What was your second? Well, and the second question, yeah, who knows? But I mean, I don't want to make any headlines on political headlines. I want to just make sure that you write all about the Governator, okay? Not about Gaddafi. That would be going in the wrong direction. But the way it's going, I think that we have a chance of selling our series down there. So we're gonna make sure that he also will be playing well in Africa. But let me just tell you, the other thing is yes, I will be also in front of the camera, and I'm looking at many different scripts. And we have somewhat held off with that because we wanted to really pay full attention to the Governator. And I'm always a big believer, coming from sports, that you keep your eye on the ball. You don't take it off until the shot is done. So now we are launching the series. We all want to go and follow through and get it out there. And then we will make the decisions on what of the movies. There's like endless amount of scripts that I've been presented with, from comedy to action to sequels and so on. So I will be then looking at that and narrowing it down. But this is not until this is really well on its way.
Okay, we have time just for 3 more questions. The gentleman over here.
Yeah, hi, Scott Ross with The Hollywood Reporter. Can you tell me what other creative input are you going to have in this series besides having your likeness and your voice in it? Are you going to be involved in the scripts and the plots and any other creative input?
Well, I think that it is important, since Stan is not in politics, so he needs to hear some of the circumstances that I've been in. How does the whole political scene work? How do you fight crimes in a legitimate way? What is it that you wish that you could do? How does the whole legal system work? How does it work, the relationship between the FBI, the CIA, Homeland Security, the CHP, local law enforcement, Interpol and stuff like that. So there's a lot of stuff that as governor, you've said there. And so you talk a lot about the various different ideas. And so we sit together many times, and he pumps me for information, I pump him for information, then we come up with ideas together, but he usually is the one that runs wild with the ideas, and it's really fascinating to watch him when he gets creative. It's almost kind of like he turns on a switch and gets inspired. And I think that this project, as he has said to me, he has never been as motivated and as inspired and as passionate about anything, because he just really sees it, the possibility and the opportunities here, and how to entertain the kids and grown-ups. So we work together.
Okay. This young woman over here, please. Can you introduce yourself and stand up? Thank
Hello,
you.
I have a mic here.
Sorry,
Hello,
I
yeah,
can't see.
at the very, yeah,
Okay,
here.
go ahead. And then
Pierre Anglais for Le Move French National Radio. You use the Governator world and the I'm back thing, and it looks like there's going to be irony here, or even a bit of self-mockery. Can you tell us a bit about that? How you're going to use your image and what people know you for, and to, well, maybe somehow play with your own image?
Well, I was always the first one to be able to kind of laugh at myself. I always had a humorous side, even in the most dramatic moments, or in kind of like moments where things sometimes go wrong, as we all have those moments. I can find something humorous about that also. So I think that that's what this is. This is like having a good time. It's all about having a great time, entertaining people, and not taking it too seriously, the whole thing. And the basic message is that good has to succeed and destroy evil, and there will be all kinds of different dimensions of evil that you will come across. So that's really the idea here.
okay, one last question. This young woman here, please.
Hello, my name is Nina Kalashnikova. I'm film producer from Moscow of my own company Now Colors, and I would like to ask you just one question, not a long one. If you could just bring all your life experience of your professional and experience and everything that you have achieved in life to just one word, what would it be, please?
Fantastic. Let me just tell you that I have said many times that I will not switch my life with anyone's. No matter who is around in the world, no matter how great they are, how talented they are, I would not switch my life with anyone's. That's how happy I am with my life and also with what I've accomplished. Because it's such a American success story in a way. And of course, successes are happening all over the world, but I call it American success story because I don't think that anywhere in the world would I have been able to do what I did in my life if it wouldn't have been for America. Only in America, to have a 15-year-old kid having a dream to become a bodybuilding champion and to get into Hercules movies and to make some money and then to go as far as I did with a lot of work and be willing to work literally around the clock. There was times when I went to America where I was a bricklayer, where I went to school hours every day to get my college degree, where I worked out 5 hours a day, and where I went to acting classes all at the same time. So it was really, I never pulled back when it comes to work, but what I have achieved is just impossible. It's like extraordinary. And so I'm very happy about having moved to America, and I'm very happy that I had such a wonderful life, and that I was willing to work, and that I always had a great vision, and I never was afraid of failure, because I've had many failures, but I never was afraid of the failures, because it's the only way you're going to be successful, if you're willing to fail and if you shoot for the top and are willing to put in the work. So that's it. So I'm really happy with the life that I've had, and I'm also happy that actually France, Cannes, has contributed so much, and this is why I was so honored to be here and to get this award today and this honor, Legion of Honor. All of this is just fantastic.
Thank you very much, Governor Schwarzenegger.
Thank
For your inspiring words, and for your honor, congratulations.
Thank you.
Legion of Honor. Thank you, one and all. Have a great MIPTV 2011. Thank you.